Welcome to The Deep Dive, part of the Nepali Diaspora Network podcast, your source for news, views, and insights for Nepalese worldwide. What a week it's been for Nepal. Seriously, a whirlwind of activity.
Absolutely. Significant policy changes at home, high-stakes diplomacy abroad.
Exactly. So if you've been trying to get a handle on the latest developments shaping Nepal's future, you are definitely in the right place. Today, we're taking a deep dive into a whole stack of fascinating sources. We're covering everything from digital rights and border disputes
to economic opportunities and, yeah, those environmental challenges, too.
and more mission.
I
So
want to...
really distill the key takeaways, give you that shortcut to being genuinely well-informed and, connect the dots on why all this matters.
For sure. We're looking at this really dynamic interplay between domestic policy and, well, global engagement. It's complex.
It's tapestry, right?
Exactly, a complex tapestry. And we want to help you connect those threads, not just to understand what's happening, but really grasp the implications for Nepalese people everywhere.
Okay, great. Let's dive in. First up, let's unpack this big domestic topic. Digital governance.
Yeah.
The Nepalese government's made a pretty significant move here. Could really reshape the digital landscape. Tell us, what exactly has the government ordered about social media platforms?
Okay, so the government of Nepal, through its Ministry of Communication and Information Technology, let's call it MoCIT,
Right.
they've directed the Nepal Telecommunications Authority, the NTA, to block social media platforms that haven't registered under this new social media usage regulation, 2080.
2080, that's the Bikram Sambat year.
Exactly. It corresponds to 2023, 2024. And yeah, 7-day deadline for this registration, and it just expired recently.
Wow. So this isn't just about, new platforms entering the market. It affects existing ones, too, the ones people are using every day.
Precisely, yeah. The regulation applies to both foreign and domestic platforms. MoCIT set the deadline after talking with telcos regulators,
Okay.
making it pretty clear compliance is mandatory for everyone operating in Nepal's digital space.
So what are the practical implications, then? Which platforms are feeling the heat? And what are the stated reasons behind this big regulatory push?
Well, some have actually completed registration. TikTok, Viber, Nimbuzz, WeTalk, Popo Live they're in.
Okay.
Others, like Telegram and GlobalLink, they're apparently still in the process. The government's official line is that it's about enforcing accountability
Accountability?
and curbing what they call unwanted content. This actually stems from a Supreme Court directive calling for stricter online regulation.
Right. But that term, unwanted content, sounds a bit vague.
It does raise questions, absolutely. Important questions about transparency, about digital rights. Critics are worried, that such a broad definition could potentially be used to stifle free expression, or maybe even innovation in Nepal's digital sector, which is really growing.
That's a really critical point. The potential impact on just daily life for millions of Nepalese. It seems huge.
It really is.
If enforcement is broad, it could hit individual users, sure, but also small businesses, right? The ones using platforms for marketing.
Definitely. And NGOs for outreach, even essential services like cross-border remittances, remote learning, too.
Yeah. So for you listening, this really highlights that ongoing global tension, doesn't it, between governing content and, digital freedom.
Absolutely. And Nepal's right there in the thick of it now, a key place where this whole complex debate is playing out in real time.
How will they balance accountability with, digital access and expression, especially thinking about the diaspora using these platforms to connect back home?
It's a tough question. No easy answers there.
Okay, so from regulating the digital space within its borders, Nepal is also navigating this equally complex international scene. Let's switch gears.
Right.
Thinking about sovereignty, national interests. Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli was recently in China for the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit, the SCO.
That's right.
And this visit sounds like it was quite the balancing act. Sovereign assertion, development diplomacy.
Very carefully choreographed.
Yeah, and here's where it gets really interesting. A key issue raised was the Lipulekh Pass. What exactly did PM Oli say to President Xi Jinping about that?
Okay, so during their meeting in Tianjin, PM Oli directly objected. He objected to that recent India-China understanding about reopening a trade route through Lipulekh Pass.
Brought it up directly.
And urged China firmly to recognize Lipulekh as Nepalese territory. He based this on Nepal's constitutional map, which, includes Limpiadhara, Lipulekh, and Kalapani.
Those territories defined by the 1816 Shugali Treaty, according to Nepal.
Exactly. So this wasn't just a passing comment. It was a strong, direct assertion of Nepal's claim to a major world power.
Wow. And how did President Xi react to that? especially given it's such a sensitive issue involving India as well.
Well, according to the Nepalese officials who were there, President Xi apparently said China has no objection to Nepal's claim over the territory.
No objection. Okay.
But he also urged Nepal to resolve it bilaterally with India, basically indicating China wants to stay out of it, not be a direct party to the dispute.
Interesting.
And what's really telling is, while Nepal's embassy confirmed Lipulekh was discussed, the official Chinese Foreign Ministry rayed out of the meeting. No mention of Lipulekh at all.
So a clear difference in what each side wanted to emphasize publicly.
Definitely highlights different diplomatic priorities. Maybe China trying to walk a careful line between its neighbors.
A delicate diplomatic dance, indeed. Now, there was also some controversy, right, about Nepal supposedly supporting certain Chinese global initiatives after the meeting.
Yes, that's right. The Chinese statements afterwards suggested Nepal backed the Global Security Initiative, GSI, the Global Civilization Initiative, GCI, and the Global Development Initiative, GDI.
But that wasn't quite the case.
Not according to Nepalese officials. People like Foreign Secretary Amrit Bahadur Rai, Economic Advisor Dr. Yubaraj Katiwada, they quickly clarified.
What did they say?
They stressed Nepal only supports the GDI, the Global Development Initiative, because, that aligns with UN development goals, poverty reduction, food security, climate action, things like that.
Okay, so development focused.
Exactly. They explicitly denied agreeing to GSI or GCI. Those are seen as having security, maybe even military connotations.
Which wouldn't fit with Nepal's non-aligned policy.
Precisely. That constitutional commitment to non-alignment is crucial for Nepal, especially sitting between two giant neighbors. Maintaining that stance is key to its sovereignty, its strategic independence.
So a real diplomatic tightrope walk for Nepal there. Beyond those, let's say, trickier issues, what else did PM Oli's team focus on during the China visit?
A lot of focus was on speeding up projects under China's Belt and Road Initiative, the BRI.
Right. What kind of projects?
The talk centered on boosting connectivity, cross-border infrastructure, maybe even that railway project eventually, also cooperation in energy, agriculture, health, climate resilience.
Oh, practical development stuff. Hydropower,
Yep.
ag tech.
Things like that, yeah. Aimed at boosting Nepal's self-sufficiency. They also visited some cultural sites like the Zoo Onlai and Denging Khao Memorial Museum and a rice planting area, showing broader cooperation.
And Oli met other leaders too.
Oh, yes. Bilateral meetings with leaders from Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, the Maldives, even Russia, discussing climate change, trade, and he even exchanged greetings with India's PM Modi at a reception.
Really underscores that effort to balance relationships everywhere.
Exactly. Actively cultivating ties across the board.
So for you listening, this whole sequence gives you a real nuanced look at how a nation like Nepal, even though smaller, navigates these complex ties with powerful neighbors, how it asserts its interests globally.
It's a masterclass in pragmatic diplomacy, really.
Okay, so connecting all this diplomacy back home, what does it mean for Nepal's economy? We're seeing some genuinely promising signs, right? Recovery, new opportunities, but also those persistent challenges.
That's a good summary, yeah.
Let's start with the good news. Tourism looks like it's bouncing back strongly.
It really is. That's a very positive sign. International tourist arrivals in August 2025, they surged by 22% compared to last year. We're talking 88,680 visitors in 1 month.
Wow, 22% increase.
Yeah.
Where are they coming from mainly?
India is still the largest source market, about 40% of arrivals. Then China and the U.S. follow. This recovery, it's helped by better air links, marketing campaigns, and just, the world wanting to travel again post-pandemic.
It's crucial for the economy, isn't it? All those jobs.
Absolutely. So many Nepalese depend on tourism. It's a huge part of the GDP. It feels like the world is rediscovering Nepal.
That's fantastic news. And there's another really interesting ripple effect happening, isn't there? Something from U.S. trade policy potentially benefiting Nepal's garment industry.
Yes, absolutely fascinating. U.S. President Trump steeped tariffs on garments from India 50% and Bangladesh 20%.
Right.
While they've inadvertently created this big opportunity for Nepal, Nepal has a much lower tariff comparatively, only 10% for garment exports to the U.S.
Why is it so low?
Mostly due to its least developed country status and some specific U.S. trade preference programs. So suddenly, Nepal looks like a really attractive alternative for making clothes.
So companies might shift production.
We're hearing reports, yeah. Major Indian garment companies, even big international brands like GAP, Puma, Nike, Zara, they're reportedly exploring production or partnerships in Nepal now.
That sounds like a massive opportunity. Huge potential for jobs, economic growth. But I guess there are risks, too.
Oh, definitely. While analysts think this could, potentially multiply Nepal's garment exports to the U.S., there is a serious worry about illegal transshipment.
What's that exactly?
Basically, Indian goods being sneakily rerouted through Nepal, slapping a counterfeit Made in Nepal label on them to dodge those high U.S. tariffs.
Ah, okay. That sounds problematic.
Very. It undercuts genuine Nepalese businesses, obviously, but it also risks damaging Nepal's reputation as a reliable trade partner. Could even jeopardize that preferential trade status down the line.
So the government's aware of this.
Yes, the industry minister has actually pledged to set up a task force specifically to tackle this. It highlights that tricky balance, doesn't it? Seizing a huge opportunity versus maintaining trade integrity.
It really does. Okay, shifting to another potential economic game changer. What's the latest on that natural gas discovery in Dailekh?
Ah, yes, Dailekh, this could be huge. A preliminary study in Jal found an estimated 112 billion cubic meters of methane gas.
112 billion cubic meters.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean in practical terms?
Well, to put it in perspective, that could potentially supply Nepal's entire energy needs for maybe 50 years. It could fundamentally change the country's energy situation.
50 years, wow.
Right.
So less reliance on imported LPG.
Exactly. It could significantly cut those costly LPG imports, which are currently around, Rs 28 billion a year. Plus, the gas could be used as raw material for fertilizer production.
Boost in agriculture, too. Reducing import dependency there as well.
Right. So the government's waiting for a final report expected by the end of 2025. And they've apparently asked China for technical help with production testing. It's a really hopeful step towards energy independence.
Incredibly exciting potential. But as we know, Nepal also faces these ongoing environmental challenges, especially during monsoon season.
Unfortunately, yes, that's the persistent reality. The 2025 monsoon brought a really intense landslide crisis. The records show a dramatic increase in incidents.
Causing real damage.
Significant damage, deaths, injuries, property loss, and blocking vital roads, like the Prithvi and Araniko highways. Imagine a village getting cut off overnight. No supplies, no emergency aid.
And what's driving this increase?
It's a combination of factors. Climate change, definitely making monsoons more intense. Nepal's naturally fragile geology, and human disturbance, too, like poorly planned road construction.
Right. And we also saw those glacial lake outburst floods, the GLOFs.
Yes, devastating. That's when a natural dam holding back a glacial lake breaks, releasing this huge sudden flood. We saw one destroy the Friendship Bridge on the Bodakoshi River back in July.
Just highlights the urgent need for better disaster management, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Integrated risk management, early warning systems, climate adaptive infrastructure. It's crucial for protecting lives and livelihoods.
Okay, so let's try and bring all these threads together now. Amidst the digital shifts, the diplomacy, the economic ups and downs, the environmental pressures, there's this constant, powerful force supporting Nepal's economy, often from afar. We're talking about remittances, aren't we? Just how significant are these contributions from the global Nepalese community?
They are truly the country's economic backbone, a lifeline. Nepalese working abroad send home roughly Rs 4.72 billion every single day.
4.72 billion rupees daily. That's staggering.
It amounts to an astonishing Rs 1.72 trillion over the last fiscal year. In 2023 alone, inward remittances were over USD 11 billion. That's about 26.6% of Nepal's entire GDP.
26%. So it's not just boosting foreign reserves.
Oh, no, it goes way beyond that. It drives household consumption. It fuels small businesses. It's a primary reason for overall financial stability. It's this huge, silent economic engine.
And what's really striking is how it impacts families and communities directly.
Right.
Beyond the big numbers.
Profoundly. This steady flow transforms areas, both rural and urban. You see new modern homes being built.
Yeah.
Big investments in children's education. That's often the main pathway out of poverty.
Better healthcare access, too, I imagine.
Definitely. And many small businesses get started or kept afloat with these funds. The national stats show something like 61% of Nepalese households receive remittances.
Over 60%. Incredible.
And what's also really interesting is the impact of women's remittances. It might be a smaller proportion overall, but nearly 45% of what women send home goes directly to essential household costs. Education, health.
Making it especially transformative for families.
Exactly. For well-being, for future generations. It's not just money changing hands, it's fundamentally changing lives.
And where are many of these dedicated workers heading? Are protections for them improving?
The Gulf region is still a key destination,
Yeah.
particularly the UAE. And the good news is the UAE has actually made significant strides in migrant welfare recently, progressive labor reforms.
Like what kind of reforms?
Things like mandatory insurance schemes, strong wage protection systems to make sure salaries are paid on time,
That's crucial.
digital salary transfers for transparency, even free legal aid programs. These steps make migration safer, more productive for many Nepalese, helps protect them from exploitation.
So recognition and reward for their contributions. Challenges remain, I'm sure.
Of course, challenges still exist, but these reforms are a really significant step in the right direction.
So these workers, they're not just sending money. They're really economic ambassadors, aren't they? Connecting Nepal to the global economy, driving development from the ground up, one family at a time.
Absolutely. It highlights this profound, often unacknowledged impact of individual contributions, individual sacrifices on national development.
What a fascinating deep dive into Nepal's really dynamic landscape today.
Yeah.
We've unpacked so much from those bold digital rules and complex diplomacy.
To the economic hopes, the environmental resilience, and yeah, the absolutely crucial role of the diaspora.
It's clear Nepal is navigating a really complex path, trying to balance sovereignty, development, and the well-being of its people, both at home and those living abroad.
Definitely. And before we wrap up, just a quick mention for those of you listening in the UK. We wanted to give a shout out to belayet.uk. It's a really helpful classifieds platform for Nepalese there. Jobs, housing events, local Nepalese businesses. Check it out.
Good tip. And of course, to get the full newsletter this deep dive is based on, to stay updated with all the latest news and access more diaspora resources, please do visit nepalidiaspora.net.
Absolutely. So as you reflect on all these interconnected stories we've talked about, maybe consider this. Looking at everything digital governance, international relations, the economy, the environment, what single factor do you think will be most critical in shaping Nepal's path forward in the coming years?
Something for you to ponder as you continue exploring the world around you. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive.